We can do it like this for now. Hello everyone, sorry for the awkward lighting. We are obviously in my kitchen, but welcome to Bookmas day three. I'm on struggle street today, okay guys. Anyway, so in today's video, we're in my kitchen because we are doing a like Christmas baking and 2026 releases video. We're gonna be talking about the releases that I'm really excited for in 2026, and we're also gonna bake some cookies. I bought the like Christmas M&Ms. These ones are the peanut ones because I'm going to do a very small batch with the peanut ones, and bulk of them are going to be just like plain chocolate chip cookies. This is like a plain chocolate chip recipe that I use all the time, and they always come out so good and they taste delicious and they get eaten so fast in my house. So we also might bake some banana bread. We will see. We're going to get into it. Essentially, I'm going to just like somewhat chat to you guys about books as I do this. So we're going to start with the cookies just because I need to wait for my bananas to defrost. I don't have a lot of books that I'm super excited for next year. I did go through and like save them on Goodreads. I'm just looking to see which ones are like coming out first. Let's first start with this. So the first thing we have to do is get the oven on for 180 or 160 fan forced, and line 2 baking trays with baking paper. I have like an actual cookie sheet tray. For those of you that don't know me very well, I actually bake quite a lot. Like I bake cakes. I do all of like the birthday cakes and stuff for my families. So I was kind of gifted this by my ex-mother-in-law, and for Christmas one year, she also gave me like a muffin tray or like a cupcake tray. But yeah, this is really, really good for baking cookies because it doesn't have the edges. So like this is really good. If you bake a lot, definitely invest in one of these. I cannot recommend it enough for like baking cookies. But I do also have just like a plain one that's got like a little lip. So I'm gonna get the oven on, get them done, and then we'll start with the ingredients. And also, super random side note for people that do bake a lot, invest in the longer baking paper. Works so much better for baking trays, so much better. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do, just because this does need to soften, is I'm gonna cut off the butter, how much I need for the butter, and I'm gonna be doubling this recipe. So this is 150 grams of butter. Obviously, I'm gonna need 300 grams for this. So I'm just gonna cut off the 300 grams and like cut it into smaller pieces and put them on a plate. Is that a little bit better? That's better. I just turned on my lounge room lights so that you guys can see. Yeah, so the first thing I'm gonna do is cut up the butter. This is, again, like I said, I bake quite a lot, so I know what works really good. This is my favorite butter to use for any cooking. It's the Western Star, but it's the green one. It's really good for cooking. It has less salt. It's not unsalted, but it has less salt than salted butter, so that you can add more salt based on what you like as a baker. And also, do you guys like my shirt? It says Merry Christmas, you filthy animal on it. I bought this a few years ago for like family photos for Christmas, and it's like my go-to Christmas shirt now. I always wear this for family photos or like Christmas Day, because obviously being in Australia, we have Christmas in summer. Also, another thing that I really like about these particular blocks is on the back, it's got the grams on the top. So you can just cut at that line and you'll have about that much. It's not always 100% perfect, but it works well enough. And you can cut straight through the paper, which is what I do. So you can see it's still wrapped in paper, but I've got 300 grams and about 200 grams there. So I'm gonna put the 200 gram aside because we will use some of that later. And then I'm just going to chop up this butter. I might end up having to put it in a bowl and just softening it briefly in the microwave. But it is sort of softening already because we do need to soften the butter to cream it with the eggs is what it is. But it's definitely hot enough here today. Like it's in the 30s here today. So while I'm doing this, let's talk about the first book. I think there's 2 books that come out on the same day next year in January. The first one I'm going to talk to you guys about is actually a book that I haven't heard anything about, from an author I haven't heard anything about, and these are also just the ones that I found on Goodreads. There's probably more that like I just haven't heard of coming out next year, but this one is called Silver and Blood by Jessie Mihalik, I want to say. Its expected publication date is the 27th of January. It's 446 pages. It looks like it's going to be like a little bit of a romantasy, which you guys know I love. I don't know if it's an adult romantasy or a young adult romantasy. You're gonna get like a voiceover, Justine. While I'm cutting this up, I will like put the voiceover. I'll read you the synopsis. It says, on a deadly mission to kill the mythical beast that has been haunting her woods, a desperate mage finds her fate intertwined with the handsome and powerful man who saves her. There's something in the woods. Untrained and barely armed, Lyra reluctantly agrees to enter the forest and kill the deadly beast that has been attacking her fellow villagers, as she's the only mage available, or so she thought. When one beast turns into two, she fears her death is at hand, but unexpected aid from a scarred, strikingly handsome man with dangerous moonlit magic means a second chance at life and an opportunity to learn about her own fickle power. After being rescued and healed from her fight in the forest, Lyra awakens in a magical castle complete with a gorgeous library and strange wolf and the surly man who saved her life. Lyra soon learns Garrick is not a mortal mage at all. He's a powerful Ethri sovereign who has been locked out of his kingdom in Loka for nearly a century, and his powers are weakening. Trapped in his castle and surrounded by the treacherous woods, the spark of attraction between Lyra and Garrick slowly ignites into fiery desire. But the more they discover about Lyra's magic, the more suspicious Garrick grows of her identity. As they unravel the secrets connecting Lyra's past to Loka, the tenuous threads of trust between them begin to fray, because Lyra's life or her death might be the key to regaining everything Garrick has lost. So that sounds super interesting. Okay, so our first step is to put all the butter and all the sugars together and mix them up. So I'm gonna do that. So I'm doing, it's half a cup of brown sugar and half a cup of caster sugar, but I'm doubling the recipe. So I'm gonna do a full cup of, this is just white sugar. I know it's not technically caster sugar, but it works the same. Never had a problem substituting that out if I don't have caster sugar on hand. Brown sugar, I'm just gonna do a little bit more because I couldn't quite get a full cup of that in. I feel like I should get my big mixer out, but like I also don't wanna waste it. So this is the current bowl, just butter and sugar, brown sugar and white sugar, or caster sugar. I'm just gonna use my stick blender because it's a little bit easier to do rather than whisking it by hand. So I'm gonna quickly whisk that up and then I'll come back and we'll talk about the book. I've actually decided to go get my big mixer out. I have a really big Kenwood mixer. It's worth a lot of money. It's like the Rolls Royce of kitchen like mixers, stand mixers. So I'm gonna do that because the butter is still a bit firm and I know that my kitchen mixer, my Kenwood mixer will do way better. So I'll be back once this is all mixed. Okay, so you can't see it, but I do have my big Kenwood mixer out on the bench over there. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use this bowl to put the ingredients in and then put them in there. So we've done butter and sugars. Now we need to do egg and vanilla extract, which I forgot to get out. For me, I have gotten really good at just like eyeballing vanilla extract. I also just kind of like know what sort of tastes good based on eyes now, just because I've been doing this for so long. Also I have two family members that were like chefs or something. So I'm going to give the eggs a quick mix in their own bowl and then I'm gonna add it into the big bowl. The recipe calls for 1 egg. Like I said, I'm doubling this. So I'm gonna add, it says a teaspoon, so I do a little bit more than a teaspoon because I just like it a little bit sweeter. So I'm gonna add them in and get that mixing. Now, as well, this is something that a lot of people don't understand, but you can definitely overwork gluten. So when you add flour into things, you don't want to overmix it because when you overwork gluten, it becomes like very, very dense and like really tough. Like it almost goes really hard when you cook it. So this step, mixing, like creaming the eggs, butter, sugar and the vanilla together is like, I'll let it mix for longer. So I might actually bring you guys over so you guys can see. So that's what the mixture should be looking like before adding the flour. And then the next thing we're adding in is, I don't know how many cups it actually is. I think it's like 3 and like 3/4 cups or something like that. The recipe calls for 1 3/4 cups, so I've obviously doubled that. So it'll be 3 and 3.5 cups is what will be in there of flour, of plain flour. Now I don't bother sifting anything. I'm really lazy. I just like to be quick and efficient, and it generally works out fine. Also, I'm using the K attachment rather than the whisk, just because it doesn't need to be whipped, if that makes sense. And because I've just added a whole bunch of flour, I'm starting really low. I'm gonna slowly work my way up, otherwise you'll get a plume of flour everywhere and you really don't want that. Okay, so now the last step is to put in the chocolate chips. Now, I'm obviously using M&Ms, which aren't always the best, but I don't really care because I want the color. And this says to put 1/2 cup of milk chocolate chips and then 1/2 cup dark chocolate that goes in, and then you're supposed to keep a tablespoon extra to plop them on top. I never bother with that. I'm actually gonna end up splitting this because I want to do some with the peanuts in them and some with just the plain choc. So I'm going to spoon some of this out into a bowl so I can mix up some peanut ones and then go from there. But Silver and Blood, like I said, I haven't heard anything about this author. I've never heard anything like about this book or like anything from like this author before. So I'm really excited to read that. It sounds super interesting. I love a good romantasy, whether it's like young adult or adult romantasy. I love them either way. I am just taking a metal spoon, and I'm not gonna take quite half of this mixture because I do want more of it to be the plain chocolate chip rather than the peanut. That's probably a little bit more than half in the big bowl. So essentially, these are the peanut M&Ms. They're gonna go in the plastic bowl, and I'm gonna dump the whole bag in there. If I feel like that's not enough, I'm gonna add a little bit of chocolate, like plain chocolate chip. But I think that should be fine by the looks of it. Okay, so that'll get mixed up a little bit more when I go to separate it and put them into their little balls. So I'm gonna leave that now. And then I am gonna add both of these into the big one. I do like a lot of chocolate chips in my chocolate chip cookies. And like I said, they're red and green, so they're perfect. The color will like separate from them a little bit when they cook, which is fine. That's kind of why I wanted these to do that. Now you can just like fold them in like I was with the other ones, but I'm lazy. I may as well, when I've got a really good mix, I may as well just use it. So just be warned, it does sometimes break your M&Ms, which is fine, doesn't bother me. It doesn't do it with the chocolate chips, but M&Ms are a little bit softer, So I'm sorry about like where it's cutting the top of my head off. I just wanted you guys to be able to see me like put it together. I'm just gonna move everything to over here to get everything out of the way that I don't need right now so that I can roll out the cookies. I may even end up needing another tray, we shall see. And yes, I'm the type of like baker that just throws all the dirt, like the rubbish into the sink, and then I'll clean it out afterwards. So we have our peanut ones here and we have our plain M&Ms here. I do own a spatula, but I just put it away and I can't be bothered to go and get it. So, and this I'm just gonna leave here because I will be using it for making banana bread. Okay, so we've got our two bowls. I'm going to bring over. So I've got my two baking sheets, my cookie tray, my baking sheet, whatever you want to call it. And essentially, if you really get worried about it, you can like wet your hands, but like it's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna start with the peanut ones first. I'm gonna make the peanut ones a little bit bigger because obviously the peanut M&Ms are bigger in general. So essentially all you wanna do is roll it into a ball like this. You can't even see any M&Ms on that side. So roll it into a ball and then just leave it on the tray like that. They will flatten quite a lot, so you have to be prepared for that. I actually think that that's gonna be way too big. I have just made it a little bit smaller because that was gonna be a giant cookie, so. And I'm trying to leave the M&Ms on the top. And then I'm gonna do like 2, 2, 2, 2 until this tray is full. I'm probably gonna have to pull out another tray and cook them on another tray, which is fine. Also, if they end up touching on the pan while they're cooking, I don't really care. I've definitely had them go like right to the edges of the pans before. It's fine, they just look a little bit more unique. They're not like perfectly rounded cookies, which does not bother me. It does not bother anyone that's ever eaten my cookies before. Everyone loves this recipe. This should get you about 8 cookies when you do them of this size. I'm gonna do the M&M ones a little bit smaller, but this should get, I think this is gonna get me like 6 big cookies and then like 2 small cookies, which is fine. This one's just a little bit big for like 1 cookie, so I'm going to, actually not, I'm just gonna leave it. We're gonna have 1 big cookie, which is fine. So I'm gonna pop that on the other tray. So that's 1 whole tray filled. And then we're gonna move on to the plain M&M ones. And I am gonna make these a little bit smaller. I will show you a comparison. So like this kind of rough size comparison. I know they don't really look it, but they are quite a bit smaller. But I do these so that they're kind of like Subway cookies. They end up a bit thicker than Subway cookies, but they're like as big as them, which I love. The next book that comes out that I've got here, again, is another like, I've never heard anything about this book. I've never heard anything about this author. So another new author to me. It is The Wolf and The Crown of Blood by Elizabeth May. Again, another fantasy series. Its expected publication date is the 27th of January as well. It's 560 pages long. It is the start of a series. It's called the Broken Accord series. This is book number 1. I will, again, you'll get like a little bit of a voiceover while I'm doing this. A thrilling and incredibly sexy new dark romantic series from Sunday Times bestselling author Elizabeth May. A princess and a war-weary god met in the ashes of a broken city, forging a pact in blood and sacrifice. Now centuries of fragile peace are on the brink of collapse. Brienne de Valiant was born to die again and again. In Vartina, royal blood is the currency of peace, with every monarch sacrificed and resurrected to appease the gods. But when rebellion stirs, the God King sends his deadliest weapon to restore order, an immortal assassin known only as the Wolf. Evander has perfected the art of killing over centuries, until his latest target becomes one person he cannot destroy. When forbidden desire burns between the assassin and the sacrificial princess, their connection threatens the fragile boundary between gods and mortals. And when that boundary shatters, empires crumble. Because when gods fall in love with mortals, mortals are always the ones to break. So love that. This says that it's inspired by Beauty and the Beast and Eros and Psyche. So it says, inspired by Beauty and the Beast and Eros and Psyche, this dark seductive tale is perfect for fans of Raven Kennedy's Plated Prisoner series, with the wit and spice of Callie Hart's Quicksilver, packed with dark fairy tale vibes, gothic romance, and tropes like enemies to lovers, forced proximity, death pacts, and villain gets the girl. This is a story where love is as deadly as it is irresistible. Right up my alley. Okay, so I got 3 trays of cookies. So I've got one full one of the peanut M&Ms, and there's one peanut M&M on here, which is that one. And then I have a whole nother tray of 6 just plain M&M cookies. So they've got to go in the oven for 15 to 18 minutes. I usually check on them at about 12 minutes in, because they do continue to cook once you pull them out because they get hot. So they will cook a little bit. So I'll check them at about 12 minutes. I look for like a slightly spongy texture and a little bit golden brown on top. I will show you when I pull them out what I'm talking about. And then I put them on a cooling rack, because as they cool, they cook that last little bit. So get these in the oven, and then we'll start on the banana bread. I'm gonna set a timer for 10 minutes. I'll check them at 10 minutes. I know they're gonna need a little bit more than that, but I'm just gonna set a timer for 10 minutes. So timer started for 10 minutes, so we'll check them in 10. So now I'm gonna quickly just like wash the bowls that I need to use to make the banana bread, and then we're gonna start on the banana bread. The next one that I'm super excited for that comes out, some of these are ones that like I know the authors, some of them are not, which you guys already know. But the next ones are in May, I believe, or there might be one in April. Yes, so The Ballad of Falling Dragons by Sarah A. Parker. This is book 2 from When the Moon Hatched. I have just started reading When the Moon Hatched. Book Bestie and I are doing a buddy read, but he wanted to read something else, so he's putting it on pause, so I'm also putting it on pause. However, I should have it done before the 28th of April. I am not going to read you the back because I do not want to spoil the first book for you. Oh, there was one in March that I totally missed. In Her Own League by Liz Tomforde. It is following, this is expected to come out on the 3rd of March. The cover looks really cute. I'm super excited for it. But this is following Reese, who comes in to rewind it back. Oh, no, sorry, I lied. She comes in at Play Along, Isaiah and Kennedy's story. She becomes the owner of the Windy City Warriors, the baseball team. And it's also about Miller's dad. So it's about Monty and Reese, which I'm super excited for. I think that that's going to be such a beautiful story. There's obviously going to be like a little bit of an age gap there. So I'm super excited for that. It sounds super interesting. And yeah, it's called In Her Own League. Yeah, it's a Windy City spin-off series. So that's really awesome. I'm super excited for that book. Can't wait to read that. May, I think there's 2 in May that I've got my eye on. One is Fury Bound by Sable Sorrensen. It's the second book for, I think it's the Wolves of Ruin. Yes, it's the second book in the Wolves of Ruin series. I have not read Diebound yet, but I am planning on reading it next week before the end of the month. So I'm not going to read you the back because I'm not going to read you the synopsis because obviously I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm super excited for that as well. Again, need to like get onto it about reading it like ASAP. What else have we got in May? I thought there was another one in May. Yes, there's another one in May called Deathbringer by Sonia Tagliareni. I don't know how to say that. I'm so sorry for butchering that. I know I have probably butchered that. It's expected to come out on the 12th of May. The synopsis, this is book 1 in the Deathbringer series. It's called Deathbringer. And again, I love some of these fantasy romantasy book covers. They look awesome. So the synopsis says, for fans of Naomi Novik and Kerry Scalico, I don't even know who that is, either of those people. A dark academia romantasy steeped in necromancy, forbidden love, and a twisty murder mystery set within the perilous halls of a magical institute, as a death mage who hates her magic and a poison mage who hates her are forced to work together to stop a killer before one of them is next. Sounds super interesting. Doesn't sound like it's going to be much of a romantasy. I think it's going to be more of a fantasy, which also love. Sorry for the really awkward angle. I'm obviously sitting on a bench and my tripod literally cannot go any higher than what you are. So the synopsis says, born with the ability to speak with the dead, Viola hates her magic. It killed her sister, Olivia, and if she doesn't learn why, it will kill her too. Her only hope lies within the perilous walls of Gorhale Institute of Magic, where Olivia spent her final days. There, Viola clashes with Silas, a poison mage whose magic stems from 3 magical snakes. Immortal, tormented, and reckless, Silas is tethered to a life he never asked for and haunted by guilt for his father's death. His hatred for death mages runs deep, and he's determined to keep Viola at a distance. But when an attack forces him to heal her, their fates become intertwined by a magical bond that threatens to upend his loyalties and his common sense. Okay, so it is going to be a romantasy. Love that. I love this like necromancy aspect we have in here as well. That sounds really awesome. As more students start turning up dead, Viola and Silas are drawn into an uneasy alliance that pulls them deeper into Gorhale's treacherous passageways, where secrets fester beneath the stone and the dead do not rest. And as enemy lines begin to blur and their undeniable attraction grows, Viola and Silas uncover a chilling someone is hunting mages. That's obviously a typo. Doesn't make any sense. Viola and Silas cover a chilling someone is hunting mages for their magical relics, and if they can't uncover the killer in time, Viola will be next. So it says 432 pages. It says expected publication the 30th of April 2026, but when you go up to the top, it says 12th of May 26. So obviously like it's been changed most likely, which is fine. And then in June, I think there's a couple in June. I think one of them's the 2nd of June. The first one that I can see, I don't know if this is in order, but it's Shattered Gods by Katee Roberts. It's the 10th book in the Dark Olympus series, which you guys know I'm reading that book. Super excited to get through the rest of the series. That cover looks awesome. Kind of reminds me of Neon Gods. So I wonder if it is like something to do Persephone and Hades. It says the sizzling final chapter in the best-selling Dark Olympus series. So it's the final book in the series. Okay, that's right, I remember. It says, she was Olympus's queen, its sacrifice, its savior, its destruction. Long ago, Circe was Hermes's entire heart. The two women lived on the outskirts of Olympian society, content with a quiet life away from the spotlight. Then Circe caught the eye of Zeus and was forced into a marriage that would take her freedom, her future, and in the end, her life. In the wake of the tragedy, gossip swirled about the women Zeus married and allegedly murdered. But in time, everyone forgot about beautiful, tragic Circe. Everyone but Hermes, who vowed on that day to bring Olympus to its knees. Now, 15 years later, a new Zeus rules the city and a new Hades protects his people. A new hope dawns, and Hermes has begun to think there may be things about Olympus worth saving. With Atalanta by her side and slowly rebuilding her heart, Hermes may finally be ready to set aside her fury and seek the city's rebirth instead of its total annihilation. But there is a beautiful devil on Hermes's other shoulder, a devil who rose, blood-soaked, from where Zeus left her for dead years ago. A devil who has waited all this time to have her revenge. And no matter their past, no matter the desperate love they once shared, no matter the complicated triad forming between the three women, Circe will not rest until all of Olympus lays shattered at her feet, and the gods help anyone who gets in their way. So yeah, it's a scorchingly hot modern retelling of Hermes, Atalanta, and Circe, which sounds super exciting. I love this series. They're a series of interconnected standalones. I love Katee Roberts' writing in general. I think she does so good. I've read Vampire Queen, The Court of the Vampire Queen by her, Neon Gods, Electric Idol. I've read those 3. I think that's all I've read by her, and I love them all. I think she's amazing. I feel really sad about the Court of the Vampire Queen. I feel like it just didn't have enough time on the editing floor, and a lot of grammatical errors, and yeah, more so just grammatical errors and language errors just got missed, and it was quite a lot. I do notice that, like, you know, a lot of books do get them, human errors, you know, that's totally fair. But this one had a substantial amount of errors where it just, you could just tell that they had missed. It just didn't get enough time on the editing floor. So I hope that doesn't happen to that. And then I haven't continued on from book 1 of this series yet, but I am excited for it because I am excited to continue on with Glow of the Everflame. But Burn of the Everflame by Penn comes out on the 14th of July. So I'm excited to get to that book. I believe it's the 4th and final book, I think. It's the 4th book in the Kindred's Curse saga. It's 550 pages, which is actually quite small, especially compared to like Heat and Glow of the Everflame. I think Glow of the Everflame is like 700 pages and Heat of the Everflame is like 1,000 pages. So it's funny that that one's come right down. But I am excited to continue on with the series just because of the cliffhanger that Spark of the Everflame left on. I've been doing so much, I've had barely any time to read the past couple of weeks, so I'm currently trying to get through Brimstone. And then I think the final one I think I have 2 more. I have one in July and one in August. So the one in July is Heartstopper 6 by Alice Osman. I need to read volume 5. That's the only one I have left to read. And this is the final installment in the Heartstopper series, and it's expected to come out on the 2nd of July 2026. So that's really exciting. And yeah, like super excited to continue on with that series. I would have already read volume 5 by now when I'm filming this. It's still like the middle-ish of November. I would have already read volume 5, but QBD Books didn't have it, so I couldn't buy it. So that's fine. And then the final one that I have that I found while scrolling through Goodreads is The Lion and the Deathless Dark by Carissa Broadbent. It's the 5th book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. We only have this duet left and then that series is done. So I assume it's going to be done either next year or the year after. We shall see. I'm not going to read you the back because I don't want to spoil any of the other series. But if you don't know what that series is about, it is going to be a series of 3 duets. So you have the Nightborn duet, which is The Serpent and the Wings of Night and the Ashes and the Starcursed King. It follows Rain and Araya. They are Nightborn vampires. Then you have the Shadowborn duet, which follows Misha and Asar, and that follows 2 Shadowborn vampires, and that's their duet. And then you have the 3rd and final duet, which is the Bloodborn duet, which follows Bloodborn vampires. And I can't remember the girl's name, but I know it's Septimus. Is it Septimus? I think it's Kyrene and Septimus. Yeah, Kyrene and Septimus. It follows their like little love story. We've had a massive introduction to Septimus already. He's been in the previous 4 books. So I am eager to see his duet. The middle duet, the Shadowborn duet wasn't the best. I think that the Nightborn duet was the best. The Shadowborn just kind of fell a bit flat, and it's really a shame because I think that Misha was such a great side character in the Nightborn duet, and she was just kind of let down a little bit in her duet, so that was really sad. I think it's because she just didn't have enough, I don't know, she wasn't strong enough to carry a story on her own, if that makes sense. I definitely think that the 2nd book, which was The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk, in The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk, I definitely think that that book was way better than the first one in that duet. But the first duet, The Ashes and the Starcursed King and The Serpent and the Wings of Night, way, like, they're up here, and you know, the Shadowborn duet is down here. So there's a huge difference. So I am going to let that bake for a little bit. It is 3:45, so it's 3:48, and my timer has 25 minutes on it at the moment. Shall we try a cookie really quickly? I'm not going to try one of the peanut cookies because I'm not a fan of peanuts. I'm not allergic to them or anything, but I'm just not a fan of like peanuts in things. I just want a little cookie. Not that any of these are really little. We're going to take one that's a little bit more cooked, so you can tell like it's a little bit more brown, but lots of green and red in there. I don't want to get cookie crumbs everywhere. It's definitely cooked on the inside, but it's not like hard. I've still got to just like, they're not raw, but they're definitely still like a tiny bit doughy on the inside. And that's why sitting here, they cook as they cool down. But I love chocolate chip cookies. Oh, I specifically love my chocolate chip cookies. Oh, I don't know if you guys will be able to see, but yeah, it's still just that little bit like doughy on the inside, which is fine. I'm gonna go hang out for like 25 minutes and I'll come back when we check on the banana bread. Okay, so I'm just holding you for a minute because I've just pulled the banana bread out of the oven, and I'm gonna turn my oven off because I always forget to do that. oven is now off, but I've just pulled the banana bread out. It's still sitting in the tin because it needs to cool a little bit before I pull it out of the tin. So I'll just show you what it looks like in the tin. So this is what it looks like in the tin. Like I said, I've literally just pulled it out. I do the whole, like, I just get like a wooden skewer, you can use metal, whatever, and I always go in through like the little split it does, and if it comes out with like 1 or 2 crumbs on it, like that, that's totally fine. But yeah, you just don't want it to come out like gooey. So that is the end of today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. I am very much looking forward to those books that I spoke to you about in today's video. I hope you enjoyed the baking aspect, and if you do try these recipes, please let me know. This is the first time I've used this particular banana bread recipe, but it smells really good. So, but these cookies are always really good. So that is the end of today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Like I said, we're doing 12 days of Bookmas. This is day 3, so we've got like 9 more days or something left of it. Yeah, I think 9 more days, if my math is correct. Don't mind me. Still got a few more days, quite a few more days of Bookmas to go. I'm really enjoying filming all the content. I can't wait for you guys to see it. So make sure you turn on the notification bell so you get notified when I do post. If you don't follow me on TikTok and Instagram already, make sure you do that. It's on the screen as well as the link in the description box below as well. And if you want any annotated books by me, or you want me to read any specific books to annotate, let me know, and then you can order them from my Etsy shop. It's Commentary Corner. I link that on the screen and in the description box for you in every video as well. And that is it for me today. I will see you tomorrow for Bookmas day 4. Super excited to be doing this, and yeah, I'll see you then. Bye. Mwah.